Hey, and welcome to the Vergecast for the week of December 12th,
There you go.
2011. I'm Josh Topolsky.
I'm Paul Miller.
I'm Nilay Patel.
And we're back. Paul, you looked angry while I was doing that intro.
Now I was thinking of a joke.
Can you share it with us?
Why
Yeah.
did it make you angry?
It's not great.
Let's hear it.
It's like 50%. I was going to say it's day 001 for the working man.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the only one not wearing
It's day 1.0 for the working man.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of that means, but we are back.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about technology, consumer electronics, and the culture of technology and consumer electronics.
And then Josh and I are going to go mine coal.
We're going to work. We're going to go in our working class, literally blue collar shirts,
Right.
and work.
I'm taking my
for
fancy collar.
to put food on our table,
Just like in
my
Zoolander.
Bentley.
just like. Did you say just like in Zoolander? Just like in Zoolander.
Wait,
Anyhow,
did you say put food on the table or Zoolander?
we said
Josh
both.
said food on the table. I said
He said Zoolander.
Zoolander.
So anyhow,
Zoolander.
we're back. It's been a pretty interesting week in technology. Not crazy. Not
Look,
like
one thing happened this
it wasn't like the end of August or
week. It
anything.
happened today.
Yeah, Nilay's holding the. If you're listening to this or if you
Yeah.
just heard about this from somebody, Nilay was just holding up the Galaxy Nexus for Verizon,
Yeah.
which everybody's real excited about.
And there are so many of them in our office.
have to
Apparently,
s-
everybody went and bought one.
I have to say, like, it's not really that much.
You have one, yeah?
It's right here. Right here. You want to fight? You want to fight with these?
I got the extended
I know you have the
battery.
extended battery, but I was gonna say, like, it's the little bit extra thickness doesn't bother me at all. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I
If
think
anybody's making a big deal out of it.
I'm making a big deal out of it.
Well, you have the extended battery on it.
Yeah, but even without it, it's like that. You know the hump, like the classic Samsung kind of like booty hump.
so heavy.
It's just
No.
it's rounded
No,
off.
I like it.
It's
I like the way it's a
there's
little
no
bit-
ridge at all.
I like that it's a little more flat, actually.
Yeah.
It's less of a teardrop shape now. And as we
Or
know,
it's more of a teardrop shape.
every teardrop is a waterfall. Think about it.
It's funny that this is coming out like the same day these numbers are out that iOS is kind of
Excuse me, Paul. There's a drag race going on.
sorry, is kind of stalling
Yeah.
while Android continues to climb. I don't know. I saw.
Well,
like
that's. I mean,
three posts
there are
in a
only
row
so
in the
many.
forums.
There are only so many people who can really appreciate the craftsmanship of iOS.
It's true.
Oh God.
No,
It's going to be the lingering.
no, it's not. It's
subtext of the
not. It's
entire
not. It's not.
podcast.
No, but let's talk about this. A bunch of people got Galaxy Nexi on Verizon this morning. I mean, a bunch of people in our office.
I think a bunch of people. We saw some pictures of lines. Not
Yeah, we
like
saw. I mean,
super lines.
I don't
but
know.
lines.
I don't know if those lines are real or not. But they did. There were pictures
Well,
of some kind of line.
You know what's
outside
funny
of
is that those lines, like, they're either real because there's an enormous volume of people wanting to buy it, or they're real because it's hard to buy things at a Verizon store.
Right. I mean,
And
it
they just
is the
backed
holiday
up.
shopping season, so I don't want to ascribe all that line just to the presence of the Galaxy
People
Nexus.
lined up for the pre. It's not unrealistic to line up for another important gadget.
I mean, people did line up for the pre. People forget that.
I think a lot of people forget that. I think Meg
The
Whitman
lines-
definitely,
the line-
definitely forgot that.
Meg Whitman,
They-
she highlighted it.
Oh, yeah?
And then ripped that piece of the page off. And then she folded it, real methodic.
Yeah.
Real methodic-like.
She took her time.
Just folded that right and then ripped it and then put it aside. And
Like lick the edge just to,
she put it in
to
a
clean tear.
She put in a tray of unimportant factoids about WebOS. How are we talking about WebOS? I don't know either. Anyhow, so there's not really anything to say. It's on Verizon. It has worse battery life than the GSM version.
You know what's weird is it has a different battery entirely. So we were looking at the regular
It's a
one.
different size battery.
Yeah, but it's like
1850.
It's like, but the inside is no, it's like six.
It's 1850, and the GSM is 1750.
Whatever numbers that are on the back of it are rated differently. So the GSM is like
6.
6.4, and
It's
this
a
one's like
6.
6.8.
I don't know.
But it's weird because it's like they actually did some internal redesigning.
When I went to Google and they were playing around with like the early versions, it was clear that a couple of people they were like trying to swap backs and they couldn't because they were different, devices. How's that for a story? I'm thinking about turning that into a novella. It's called At Google.
Yeah,
swapping the back.
Swapping the backs.
that's chapter 1.
Swapping the backs is chapter 1 of my
You swap
novella.
my back, I'll swap yours.
That doesn't happen in my book. My novella. It's not really a book.
Yeah, it's what 150 pages.
Something that's
max?
short. It's short.
100,
It's not that. I don't know. What is the official? Is there a limit? Is there a?
I think anything over 150.
Is that it? Is that what it
crossing
is?
into
Over 150?
yeah.
Maybe somebody in the. I'm not even in the Ustream room. Is that cool or uncool? Anyhow, So there's nothing to say about it. It's out, and some people are happy, some people aren't. And I don't know any of the people who are happy. Like, I'm not one of those people. You guys are now not even talking.
I know we have a weird sample, but I feel like a lot of people are getting the Nexus right now. Like, a lot of people have been like saving up, not like literally, maybe literally, but also figuratively for this phone.
I just think it's a thing that a lot of people, at least in our world, have been waiting for, which is a pure Google experience that is as good as any. I think as good as any other phone in the market. It's at the top tier of phones. High resolution screen. Decent camera sometimes. It's fast. It's got ICS on it, and it's like a pure Google phone with ICS. With 4G on Verizon. I feel like that's kind of like the dream combo for a lot of people they've been waiting for.
Well, we've been reviewing phones left and right lately, and the end of all of our reviews has been, don't buy this, wait for the Galaxy Nexus. Because what other phone would you buy?
We knew it was coming for a while, and I think that, sorry, I'm just logging in so I can chat with these wonderful people.
Ever since Honeycomb came out, 2.3 felt a little old. So it's been a long wait.
Android hasn't really fundamentally changed in a long time. And is this cold? Oh, that's awesome. It's coldish.
Yeah.
This podcast brought to you by Diet Coke. Taste the fever.
Oh, can I say something about Coca-Cola?
It is.
Yeah.
The Christmas Coke is a silver can.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
The Diet Coke is a silver can.
It's very confusing.
And guess who had a silver can first? The Diet Coke.
So what you're saying, Christmas Coke should get lost.
I have accidentally drank a Christmas Coke and almost
I think actually everybody in this office has done that recently.
I think it's a real problem that Coke needs to address right now.
Coke fragmentation.
So let's talk about Android 4.0. So this is out. I think a lot of people are buying them.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the only phone.
Recapping the conversation.
Yeah, no, pretty much. It's the only phone you should buy. You should buy this for an iPhone 4S. Or a Windows phone if you're into that, but I would wait on the Lumia 800 if I was buying a Windows phone. So if you're going to go into a store and buy a phone, I'd buy one of these two, right?
Yeah, sure.
What's cool though is that we're already seeing other manufacturers. I think they're realizing what they have to do to get interest in their devices again. So Sony Ericsson's already released what they're calling preview ROMs of Ice Cream Sandwich for their phones. So for the newer ones. So for the Xperia Ray, the Xperia Arc S, and the Neo V, all terrible names actually, but they're lightly skinned. I would call it, but they're already out there. Like they know that to get the interest in the phones, and then we already saw a leak of, and this is far more disappointing, Samsung's Android 4.0 build with TouchWiz on top of it.
You knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, but that's like
doesn't matter if you get the Galaxy Nexus.
Yeah.
What's the matter?
It's just so disappointing. Like they didn't tone it down. They didn't do it. They were
what did you think was going to happen?
They would. I don't know.
They have to keep differentiating for the customer.
But how can they not see how badly people want this?
It does look a little weird, just because even the whole color scheme of TouchWiz seems to clash a little bit with the color scheme.
This is like
this isn't a
simple
final. It's not a final ROM, so we don't know exactly what's.
What I would love is to see what if everybody just started releasing their same phones, but with stock software. Like, would there be a dramatic change in the way sales work for these devices? I don't think they sell them on check out the cool interface. I really don't. I think they're like, look how thin the Razor is.
Right.
I think people would buy the Razor if it had stock ICS on it.
This is what I think about.
Or if it had whatever.
Windows PCs. Like Windows comes like mildly customized. Like they load a bunch of apps.
It is odd.
But they compete on hardware.
Why don't they just take a cue from Windows computers? 92% of the market, so no problem there. HP,
they load a bunch of crap on there, but it's
Lenovo,
fine.
Acer, still making money. Dell still making money. All sell different types of PCs. All run exactly the same, essentially the same software, with a greater or lesser degree of crapware.
I think that's
you
the
can
key
get rid
thing.
of.
That's the key thing.
If
is
you
that
really want to.
Slim cleaner.
Windows is not allowed to be modified in any way. In fact, it's going to get even more intense with Windows 8. What is these secure something that there's actually some pushback from manufacturers, but the essential Windows 7 cannot be altered at all by the manufacturer.
They went down this road with Windows Mobile, and then completely flipped the script for Windows Phone 7.
Right. But the thing is that Windows, which is
working so well for them.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like Windows, which is the successful model, has like very happily inhabited the middle ground for a long time, which is the middle. Like it has to be Windows. It looks and feels and works like Windows. Manufacturers can put all this stuff on top of it, but if you don't want it, you can delete it, or you can just go buy Windows and install it over the top.
I think the problem. So internally, obviously, they love the word differentiation, and externally, if you sell 30 million phones in a year, you did really well. And why would you listen to anybody? I mean, a very small minority. Why would you listen
to the voices of the industry?
Exactly.
Or the voices of your customers who are finally going and lining up for this thing at Verizon stores.
That's true. I mean, maybe this will make them take note.
How amazing would it be if the only things you had to worry about for Android fragmentation were CPU
and
screen size. I mean, it would be but resolution, but it could be that stuff could be dealt with so easily if you could just get aligned on versions and just underlying OS.
I gotta say, I was thinking about this today. Siri is serious.
Oh God,
iOS fragmentation.
Sure. For no reason.
For literally no reason.
For the reason for the purpose of
all the processing is happening in the
purpose of. So I think I know why. I think it's because they know it's not very good. And I think what we have learned over time is that it's like okay.
I mean, why not put Siri on the iPad 2, which has the same CPU and RAM?
It's differentiation designed to sell a phone, and they're advertising it.
Right. That's right.
It should be on the iPad.
Is it working? I don't know.
It should be on both iPads, and it should be on the iPhone 4.
We haven't seen numbers yet, have we, for iPhone 4S?
No, we will soon.
Right. I'm sure they're great. I'm sure they're strong.
Well, actually, no, we won't see them until end of Q1, which is like end of January.
I'm sure the numbers will be fine. I mean, Apple's making plenty of money and they're selling plenty of phones. I just think that, I think that, you see what Microsoft is trying to do, and I just, we talk about this all the time. It's so boring.
Yeah.
I just wish, I will say this. I think that these.
Let's just quit. Let's quit.
But we're coming off of, I think everybody knows who listens to this is aware of the fact that I just wrote something that's like kind of on the topic of Android versus iPhone, though it's not really about Android versus iPhone. Though I do think if you tomorrow suddenly the fragmentation issue didn't exist and the app selection were identical, I think these arguments would become a lot less effective. I think it'd be much harder to say like I'm this thing or I'm that thing. Like I just think it wouldn't matter. You wouldn't be able to. The differences wouldn't be. The list wouldn't be so long.
I like the thought exercise that Gruber had on the show, which is like if you just took a time machine to write or backwards in time and presented somebody with an Android phone, an iPhone, and a Windows phone.
Yeah,
they might not know who's the market leader.
Right. Well, I think right, of course. I mean, there's a lot of cruft both in thought and in actual, product for all of those.
And I think there's also just a lot of general holdback. I mean, I don't think the way we buy and sell phones. I think the Galaxy Nexus is actually the perfect example of this.
Tyranny.
The way we buy and sell phones, like as an industry in America, is like broken.
It's designed. Oh, really? We're going down the broken road.
It's broken.
Are you sure you want to say that?
I'll say it's.
I don't want you to use the term broken unless you're fully committed.
100% committed
to couching that as a. I think it's broken too. I think it hurts the working man.
As a Mercedes driver in a fancy shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Look at you.
I am the 1%. And
you really
I agree with you. In this limited, we need real reform.
Why is it we need to be, and now we've talked about this before in regards like Mac versus PC or Android versus iPhone, but the 99 versus 1% is the same thing. And Republican versus Democrat, human beings are so dumb. We just have this desire to like
together we can be so much more.
It's just so important for us to have this, I'm this thing or I'm that thing. Like you can't, it's like, and that was actually in the thing that I wrote today, entitled Horseshit, in case you're wondering. It was about like shades of gray and seeing the shades of gray in this stuff. And I just wish we could get away from this line of thinking where it's like I'm this thing or I'm that thing, because I don't think it's healthy.
If we were all together as one world, we could start the Federation and then send out the Starship.
I mean, look
Enterprise.
at the political, the socio-political landscape of Star Trek. Yeah. Everything's free. Everybody is together. humans are together.
Yeah.
Other races are together, but
they're just chilling, listening
other
to
races of
classical music.
They're just listening to classical music and enjoying the finer things in life, and reciting poetry and flying around the galaxy,
asking machines to create great drinks for them,
and thinking about the important things. What's out there?
Yeah.
Who haven't we met yet?
And will they try to kill us?
Are they cool?
What is a person?
If it only has tentacles and one eye, is it a person? They don't actually ever have. That's the thing about Star Trek.
Can it love?
They actually explained why on Star Trek
because they couldn't afford it. Right?
No, why all of the in the Next Generation they had this like crazy episode where they went back to like where the entire universe came from and somehow discovered that there's like a reason why everybody's kind of a humanoid. Like even though they might have like a crazy head, it's a pretty bad explanation I think overall for. I think they should have just been like, look, we ran out of money. We wanted to do like a tentacle monster, but we couldn't afford it. So
I'm Googling it.
Anyhow, did you say you're Googling that?
Yeah. Why do you
on your XYBOARD?
My XYBOARD.
I like that we're just riffing. By the way, I don't think we're talking about anything right now. This is how it should be.
We were talking about Windows Phone and Andy Lee's is out.
That's a good one.
This is a good transition.
This is another Ziegler scoop.
Or not out from Microsoft, out from being in charge of Windows Phone.
Yeah, Chris Ziegler had one of our great editors who focuses on mobile stuff, had a little bit of a scoop yesterday, which was Andy Lee's we knew that Andy Lee's was moving from Windows Phone, but we kind of got a little bit.
And they couched it as a promotion.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It turns out it wasn't really a promotion. It was like a demotion.
A demotion.
And it's an interesting article because it shows some of what's going on inside of the Windows Phone division right now. And I think what's most interesting is that, my understanding, Chris has sources, I spoke to some sources, and this concept of him being benched is definitely true. And I think that for Andy Lee's, the next step is not. I think it really is like he's not going to be at Microsoft anymore, and that's my.
I don't know, but Chris was saying that executives like this rarely just disappear.
No, they go, but they're going to be put. They're going to go down like a water slide into like some portal, and then like
they're going to a farm in upstate New York,
right? Yeah, to run around. That's right. They're going to be.
Chris said executives normally don't take a demotion. If they're going to get demoted, they'll leave.
Well, they don't. I think they don't. Like, I don't think. Right. I think it's known as. I think people know it's a demotion, but I think that to Andy Lee's, they're like, no. It's you're doing great. You just think your energy would be better spent on
to synergize Windows 8 and Windows Phone, which is, to be honest, something that they would be great for Microsoft.
Well, they need to do it,
but at least they are on that path already, which is good. I wonder. So Chris is saying that he got into big trouble for his market share predictions,
which were externally,
incredibly off. And I wonder how much you can parallel Windows Phone with something like the Xbox, which was so expensive for Microsoft and lost them so much money in the first generation, and really just had Halo, but Halo was awesome, and then they came along with the Xbox 360. I don't even. But
I think the thing about the 360 was they built the Xbox on one vision, and they actually did gain traction with Halo. And actually, Xbox Live was a huge success.
Gotta have a Halo,
right?
Well, you gotta have a Halo, but they also had a huge differentiator with Live.
So they had a killer app and they had a killer service,
right? But then they had the vision for the 360, which I think was all Jay Allard saying, "We'll build an integrated thing. We'll build it around Live. We'll do this crazy interface that makes it more of an OS, like all the stuff that they did with the 360."
I mean, what they've done with the 360 is brilliant. Even if they're maybe they veered from their original strategy a little bit, and I think they probably did. I think they saw it more as a companion to like a media center setup than as its own media center.
It would connect to your PC and stream stuff over.
And I think they've made they're making the same transition in the Xbox as Apple is talking about making in mobile devices versus like home computers, which is this pivot from your computer is the center of the world to something else is the center of the world. Right. And I think that what they've done with Xbox and what they continue to do is really brilliant. And I feel like that magic they haven't found a way to transfer that magic elsewhere.
If you look at their current ads, like there's this ad, it was actually pretty good, where this guy is running around a grocery store and the shopping list keeps on updating. And it starts out normal, and then like, candy and, I don't know, a coconut or whatever. And it turns out his kids are like laughing and they're editing on a Windows PC. They're editing the shopping list. And I think they still do see the PC as the center. And if you look at the services that are on the phone right now, they're about like, OneNote. Outlook. You know, they're about connecting to these successful services and platforms that have been on the PC instead of what, you know, Xbox Live did was it did a brand new service and, you know, brand new things.
I disagree with you. But only in this tiny way, because what those ads are about is not about the PC being the center. That phone isn't connected to the PC. Both devices are updating the cloud, and this is Microsoft saying all 3 screens in a cloud. It's what's at the center is
they're not still saying that, are they?
They say it every now and again. They'll say it, but they're saying at the center of all this is the cloud, and everything is a client, and we have these rich. And it's the same thing Apple's saying.
But that might be what they're thinking. But in reality, what they actually showed was a PC and a phone. They didn't show the cloud, obviously. But they showed a PC and the phone. And when they say, what is their line? Windows everything or something? What's their tagline for those ads?
It's a good time to be.
It's a great time
alive.
For families.
It's a great time to be a family.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
I don't. Those ads don't do anything for me. Must be because I don't have a family.
Yeah, especially because that one feature, you can have it on all kinds of devices, multi-client. Like I can do that with Simple Note right now. You can do it with Remember.
Right. No, I do this all the time with Simple Note, and I love it. I just think they need to show something. If you look at Apple has these ads currently on the web that take over the whole top of a website, and it's like this girl. Like she's on an iPod Touch and she's text messaging, she's playing games, she's doing FaceTime, and it all stays on that device, and it's all pretty emergent things. And to be honest, I know they have other ads. They have one where you shoot a video and then they edit it and stuff like that. Like, whoa, you can edit a video that you shoot. But it requires a lot of devices. It requires this whole ecosystem. And it's not really emergent, where most of the things that you see her doing on her iPod Touch are pretty emergent.
Right. I agree. It's a problem. What?
I think
you don't like me agreeing with Paul?
No,
I think
there's a conflict.
I think there's a lot of great stuff on Windows Phone, but to sell it, they need something. Here, they need like a huge differentiator.
I don't know. We read an article about gadget fatigue. Recently, and I wonder if
there isn't. It's a quick read or something somewhere on the site.
It's on the site.
Yeah.
You want me to deal with it right now?
No,
I'm not going to touch it. I'm not touching that. But I do think there is some fatigue of, we've been thrown a billion new operating systems and all these like ecosystems, and it's like WebOS and RIM and Symbian and Windows Phone. Amazon's got their thing.
What was really interesting about the fatigue article was that one of the big theses of it was that not that it's going too fast, but that it's not going fast enough. Right. That there's these endless promises of what's coming next.
Well, there is.
Nothing quite works as promised.
And a lot of that is, what we've seen in mobile, which is, RIM. How many times has RIM introduced a new OS and talked about their new app?
No, we did history of Android. It's like 8 releases in 3 years.
Yeah.
Right?
But Android actually, but if you track the changes and look at 1 to 4, significantly different operating system with significantly different features, I think.
Sure.
You give me a real dirty look.
No, I'm thinking, but it's funny because in mobile you're tied into these 2-year contracts.
Yeah.
So the actual inertia for you to get the new version is super high.
Yeah, I think.
Whereas what you want is you want the constant refinement.
I do think we have this broken. You talk about it being broken, but part of that broken model is, and Gruber again made a really great point about this on the show about. And now I've completely blanked on the point that I was going to say. But the gist is that we have this cycle that is off. We've got about PC makers being the only people who could get into this phone space in the right way and do what the modern smartphone is. That was the point. But on that line of thinking, and obviously full operating system updates don't happen all that often on PCs, but our cycle for the way these devices work is we're split between this 2-year model of the carriers and now we have this explosion of innovation happening, which is kind of like the explosion of innovation when PCs really started building steam. And we're not tracking.
But there is actually, I think, an equivalent explosion of innovation on the PC because it's all happening on the web.
I think explosion of innovation should be a new series that we do.
Yeah, that's like our cruise ship, but that's like the new Carnival
explosion of innovation.
We have different seminars on explosion
seminars by day, great buffets by night.
Yeah.
Party slide.
All night dancing.
Party slide a thing, by the way? I just
Party slide.
Party slide. It's like when there's a group of people sliding on one of those water things.
Yeah. That's your second water slide.
It's a common line.
You're kind of obsessed.
I really want to go to a water park, okay? Is there a problem? I just want to I'm thinking about, it's getting cold. I'm thinking about summertime fun. Go ahead. I hate summertime fun, by the way.
It's a little like a Verge retreat.
Yeah, the idea
number
of
one.
you,
Yeah.
The idea of you on a beach, I have to say, just completely.
It has happened. Total burn completely from head to toe.
Whereas I'm a man of leisure. I would like
leisure.
You're
really a man of leisure.
I like leisure. It's better.
Okay. Yeah, go on.
I have no idea what I was saying.
You were talking about the 2-year cycle
versus.
Oh no, on the desktop.
Oh, innovation explosion.
Innovation explosion.
Full operating system releases happen somewhat infrequently, right? But the web,
unless you're Microsoft,
changes,
which is every 3 years,
or Apple every like 18 months. But that's still a long time. Right?
Yeah.
But the web changes insanely fast.
The web's on the move.
I mean, Facebook did timelines today. That's a completely new experience.
Well, and not only does the web change really fast,
Chrome,
but the browsers are changing really fast. And Microsoft just announced that they're going to start pushing automatic updates to
Microsoft announced they would copy Chrome.
Yeah, well, it's a good idea. Like, this is how you avoid browsers being always 4 years behind. Is you force everybody to update automatically.
Yeah, and we did
invisibly.
Who was looking at it this morning? It was Vlad and Joseph Parrish and I were looking at a chart of browser versions.
Yeah.
And the Chrome versions actually, like, one drops and one goes up because they push automatic updates.
Yeah, I mean Chrome is their rate of updating is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is
and it's
wonderful.
great because like now they're already putting like serious 3D games in the Chrome web store just because all of a sudden millions of browsers out there can support them.
I mean, I think, and I'll say this as a, focused on us, on what we do. Mm-hmm. We've talked a lot about how we want to keep developing the Verge and making it better and changing it and adding things. And I think, and I feel like we're adopting like kind of an app or web model, which is to always be updating. Yeah. And I think that for the first time, the tools are right. The speed which you can get these things pushed out is right, because before you had to burn a CD, literally, right? There was a period not that long ago where if you wanted someone to get a piece of software, you were actually burning a CD.
And that's actually how we're going to update.
Get it, yeah. And by the way, we did learn something at AOL. Yeah. You'll be getting a CD in the mail.
The worst burn.
You'll get 5,000 free hours of the Verge.
You'll be getting a CD in the mail.
Yeah, we learned
with 5,000 free hours of the Verge.
You can sign up with a credit card or a Diners Club card.
We'll bill you later.
We'll bill you monthly until the day you die.
Until you're dead, and then we'll bill your family. No, but seriously, folks. But I do think everybody's able to now move in a much more agile way,
right?
And that's new. I think it's a new thing, and the fact that Chrome keeps getting up, you really like that joke, didn't you? You really enjoyed that.
Oh, it's just I have so many follow-up jokes I keep thinking of. I'm restraining myself.
I didn't read this thing about was it operating system fatigue? Something fatigue.
It's gadget fatigue.
Gadget fatigue. Yeah. But I've complained about this before, but everybody's always trying to create the new standard. And so instead of everybody it happens on the web more where everybody's kind of iterating on what each other are doing and are kind of tying into each other's APIs and kind of bouncing back and forth. In the gadget space, everybody is trying to create an entire ecosystem, and it's all designed to be like, we'll succeed if we're one of the top three. And if we aren't one of the top three, we completely failed and we're all going to die. And
we're all going to die.
But it reminds me
that is the most amazing motivational ploy ever.
It's really good.
XKCD comic about standards, where the situation is there are 14 competing standards. And I'll just
Here,
read
send
it.
this to me
14?
so I can put it on the screen.
Okay, I'll send it to you. Oh, should I email you? I guess I can
just put it in the chat.
Oh, you use Stream Chat.
Yeah.
Are links enabled?
I can do that for you.
I was going to do a really good dramatic.
I want you to do it now. Now's your time.
You know what? It's XKCD number 927.
I'm not logged into
this.
Great moments in the Vergecast.
Do I need to look at something? This will all be edited out by Trent.
Yeah.
And it'll be edited out by Billy on the video.
All right, it's on the screen.
This is what you're experiencing now for the first time.
Put it on the big screen.
What do you putting on the big screen? I wish I could see
comic.
How
we've crashed XKCD.
How standards proliferate by Mr. XKCD.
Subtitle.
What is happening in the Ustream with this freeze frame? Did everybody see that freeze frame on Ustream?
No.
Okay.
C, AC chargers, character encodings, instant messaging, etc. Situation. There are 14 competing standards.
People are really excited they can see themselves. By the way, that shot.
14 ridiculous.
Are you? What is happening right now? Are you reading a comic?
I'm reading a comic.
Why don't you just direct the listeners to the comic, and they can.
What if they're driving? What if they're driving in their car?
They can have Siri read it to them.
I'm pretty sure that you reading in that voice would make them crash the car.
14 ridiculous. We need to develop one universal standard that covers everyone's use cases. Other person. Yeah.
That person's a lady.
Soon,
you should use a lady voice.
Soon, situation.
That was his lady voice.
There are 15 competing standards.
That's right. I read this comic.
That's what happened.
I think you tweeted
with standards. Probably.
Standards, man. We got to kill them. One standard to rule them all.
Way to go.
Proprietary. Yeah, it's been working for Sony really well.
Yeah. Now look, you know what the world needs? Another memory card format. Let's do one in the Vita. Let's do it.
You know what I'd like to see? A triangular memory card. When are we going to get, in sci-fi movies, they're like, here's the information, and it's like an octagon or something.
A pyramid?
Right, a pyramid, right. Like, why can't you put it into like a pyramid, slot it into like a reverse pyramid?
And then you have to push the whole thing.
You push it slowly and like a little smoke comes out. Why don't we have that? Like, I want to have like a crystal that, like in Superman, like those, in his cave of whatever.
I'm sure.
I believe it's called the Cave of Solitude.
We should definitely put out a fake CES press release. It's like Joshua Topolsky's Crystal Memory.
Crystal Memory.
See how many sites pick
it like
up.
90s techno.
Yeah.
You get that? Good.
Oh, that's awful.
When you push it down, it plays 90s techno. It's like bow, 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 bow. That's 90s techno. Just think about it. Yeah, just think about it. Or it's like
it's like
country
a
song. Yeah. Sorry. Seriously, folks, we got to focus, okay? We got to focus.
Hey, we're like 4 topics down the list.
We are.
We're doing great.
We can circle all the way back to Xbox and talk about what they did this week.
I'm sorry, but I'm like really, I want to talk about that. I really do.
I know you do.
But I'm really kind of hung up now on this idea of having a form of storage, which is like a...
Josh Topolsky's Crystal Memory.
Which is like an object, I mean, we're almost there. But they need to like conceal the connectors.
I mean, this is one Photoshop away.
It needs to be like lasers.
Yeah.
There's this USB key.
I want it to be one production line away.
Holographic laser storage.
Yeah, you don't actually hold it. It's just... Well, if you see, actually, when we have a bunch of stuff,
put on the manipulator
we actually have a bunch of stuff from Microsoft Research, which is like along these lines. Like there was a thing that we looked at one of the projects they had there, which is using projectors, and you can get a piece of information that's like a ball of light, and you can move it from hand to hand and then put it onto something. It's pretty crazy. People haven't seen, I think people saw that thing we did on the show at Microsoft Research, and they're like, why did you just make fun of them? We actually have a bunch of segments from that we didn't air yet. And that's one of those things. They have some really, really cool stuff there. Anyhow, totally off topic, but kind of not.
Did you see the Minority Report trailer where like Tom Cruise is driving?
Trailer?
Or not Minority Report.
I still constantly watch the trailer.
The new Mission Impossible.
Ghost Protocol.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's Ghost Protocol.
I was thinking Minority Report because he's doing these like...
he's like
driving, but he's like swiping things in his windshield.
I'm so sick of people with heads-up displays swiping things away. Like, I don't want that. Like, that's a thing we're going to be doing soon. Oh, no, get that out of here.
You know what never happens with those...
I do it to people now.
With those
bars.
You gotta,
excuse me.
No, you're trying to see the game. You
know what? Have you ever seen...
see the game gesture.
With those glass interfaces where they like make eye contact with somebody through the glass, and like it's like a poignant moment, like they're immersed in their information.
Oh, and they look up and there's someone standing off in the distance.
See somebody through
Which is why we shouldn't have see-through displays.
Yeah.
Because people always be distracting you.
Or at least
because you know what'll happen is when we all have see-through displays in offices, you'll be working on something and somebody will be in the background going like doing this stuff to try to get your attention, and you're like, what? They're like, no, nothing. I was just trying to mess with you. By the way, for those of you who are just listening to I was like jiggling around.
It's like juking.
Suggestively.
It was kind of like a jazz hand.
Chucking and jiving.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyhow. I don't know, but
Speaking of Xbox.
Yeah, speaking of Microsoft.
Whoa, yeah.
Innovations.
Whoa.
What was that? What was that noise?
I don't know.
Man, I like this. I like this podcast.
It's good. No, we're loose. It's good. No, so it's
been a long time
they did a
since we've
bunch
been
of
together
Xbox
around.
stuff this week.
Are we talking about Xbox again?
Yeah.
We talked about it the first time we talked about Xbox.
You're talking about the pivot they're making with Xbox. It's now the center, and they rolled out YouTube. They rolled out FiOS TV
for FiOS subscribers, not for regular people.
No. Why would you want to pay for television service?
Dude, Time Warner called me this week, and they were like, look, you have been such a good customer. I pay them like more than $100 a month for DOCSIS, and no TV, nothing, just DOCSIS. And they're like, you've been such a good customer, and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna get a sweet deal on something, and they're like, you could get a basic cable package for $69.95 a month.
Yeah,
and a free install.
Dude,
you mean they'll waive the install fee?
Yeah, wow. Seriously.
Did you do it? I mean,
no,
I got to jump on that, man. You should have.
You hate cable.
It's a good deal.
Oh,
Paul hates cable. He's a cord.
That's so offensive.
Paul's a cord cutter.
Yeah,
I cut the cord so long ago.
You have no.
Before it was cool.
Nice.
You have no interest in cords.
So
whatsoever.
this is weird because it's like it's such a first non-step towards cord cutting, but it's like you can see where they're going.
Well, I mean, this is a great step.
It's a great step.
But it's not.
But you can't really.
There's no DVR. You can't pause. You can't rewind. There's no on-demand.
Well, I mean, they could do that though.
Maybe
there's no on-demand at all. What an on-demand channel?
No, just 24.
But Netflix
channels.
is on demand.
It's on demand. Like you turn it on.
Hulu's on demand.
Well, you mean you could turn it? You could turn it on when you want to turn it on.
I don't.
It literally turns on. Demand.
I don't think cord cutting is about not paying for things.
No,
I think, but it's about you have to have the cable.
I have no.
You have to have
Verizon.
FiOS,
right?
Or you have to have another.
But you have to have FiOS television. You can't just have FiOS. Internet.
No, I understand that.
I have no.
FiOS
option.
is not even on the table here. Sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Sorry.
We're just two blue-collar guys trying to say something.
Were I to want to watch a sports show, I have no legal option.
Yes, you do. Come on.
Now.
Are you kidding me? Get an antenna. You live in New York City.
You
can watch.
Get an antenna.
Difficult.
What is this? The 1920s?
It's free. It's like coursing through your body right now.
I live in New York City, and I have to climb onto my roof and
on any part of your body.
My antenna is actually it's about the size of the sideboard.
I have an antenna and I have a tuner for my computer, and I get 2 channels. And
what's the problem that you need the antenna? What's going on with that?
If you want to watch, most of the shows people want to watch are on network television, right?
Well, it used to be.
But no, actually, they still are.
Castle.
They constantly do these surveys
because they are forced into watching them.
Well, it's good, and the networks demand the highest advertising rates because they have the biggest audience, so they pay the most money for the shows.
But no one can deny that there is a better show on television than Boardwalk Empire.
I actually have not seen it.
Or no one can say, I guess, because if you were to deny it,
I have no legal avenue for receiving
Yes, you do.
that.
Well, actually, you don't.
I don't.
you could get the first season on Apple TV or something.
Yeah.
Or on Amazon.
Yeah, you could pay for some stuff.
It's in glorious 720p.
You could go to Best Buy and buy it on DVD.
What's wrong with 720p? I mean, that's fine. I mean, honestly,
HBO broadcasts it in 720.
If you really are like nitpicking over 720, I can't watch this in 1080. I can't watch it.
No, well, I don't have a legal option to watch it anyways. But were I to
how about illegally? Do you partake?
Not often.
It's a good show. It's worth.
I can't think of a show I've stolen.
Just stealed. Professional writer.
Things are really falling apart
in the
here.
past couple years.
Anyway, look. So you can see where they're going, but the tragedy of the Xbox right now with the TV stuff is that you can get live television, the small selection of live television from Verizon, and you can get this big selection of on-demand from Comcast. Mm-hmm. But you are literally prevented from having both because you live in one cable monopoly or another. So it's like if you could combine those two things, you'd be a very happy person. Because you would have all the services and all the content you want. So they need to get there. They're closer and closer. I don't know that I would ever use it, but it's like cool that it's there. Like if you have an Xbox and you have like a basement, and it's in your basement, you can watch some of your channels now without having a cable box.
Or you could do a media streamer situation if you want to go crazy.
No, you just get an Xbox. The only thing, a lot of people ask me about the Kinect stuff.
I mean, getting a cable card in a PC is still the best option if you are willing to go through the pain and expense, right?
It's a lot of, it's a lot of pain and a lot of expense.
Right, but you can do all the DVR stuff. You can stream to your Xbox. You can stream to multiple Xboxes.
You can do all kinds of crazy stuff.
You can get multiple cable cards.
But it's a dead product.
Simultaneous.
I mean, but it's 100%.
And it's still not on demand, which is just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous that you can't just choose a show that you want to watch and start watching the moment it begins to air anywhere.
There's a lot of fear, okay? The idea that you could do that, it's a scary idea to the owners of that content.
Yeah.
Think about what might happen if you could do that.
If you could pay them to watch whatever you wanted.
People paying for content rampantly.
You know what I really want, and I've said this a million times. I just want to be able to pay a ton of money to watch a new movie on my TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's the amount that you would pay to be able to watch a first run?
There's a couple,
like Twilight, Breaking Dawn.
Like
they are doing it now.
It's like $25 or $30.
No, it's not even that expensive.
That's in the second window. The first window is still like $5,000.
No, but there's like isn't there like a
But no. But
isn't there like a $150 window too?
Wait, what are you talking about?
It's different windows.
Where is there a window?
Yeah, so the way it's $20,000.
What are you talking about?
Like if you're like really rich, you can just get a digital print like a theater would.
No, I'm talking about for a regular human.
No, this is Prima. This is the system. It's Prima Digital, and they come if you have like a home theater. Like
what if I just have a 42-inch television? They won't do it. How much is the service? How much does it cost for a movie?
$20,000.
No, I didn't mean $20,000. I meant like
the $20,000. The $20,000 is a setup fee to set up the DRM delivery system.
Okay.
And then each individual movie is $500.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem bad. $500 a movie.
After $20,000 an install.
Yeah. I mean, if you're really rich, that doesn't matter. That's nothing.
That's cake, man.
If you're part of the 1%.
If you have a Mercedes.
Yeah. If you have a Mercedes,
if you can
drive a Mercedes.
You can see how iOS is better.
We're gonna address this at the end of the podcast. By the way, I just want to get some stuff out there.
Let's move on.
I'm just saying. I'm talking about, and they are doing this like with some movies. Yeah. They're like first run. You can see.
You could get like Melancholy on Zoom.
Yeah, right. And Sleeping Beauty. There's a couple of others. Like a few movies, but they're not. Most of them are not movies that I want to see. No. But like I want to be able to see Breaking Dawn.
Yeah.
Volume 1, at my home.
Yeah.
When it's released, and I'll pay a lot of money for that. I'm not going to pay $500 for it. I'd consider paying $100 for it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty.
I'm not just for Breaking Dawn. Not just for Breaking Dawn Volume 1. Right. But like a movie, instead of going to the theater.
Have you seen that yet?
No, I'd like to.
Really?
Is it good?
Incredible.
Yeah.
Really. Incredible.
I'm looking forward to it. Because now that I've seen every other Twilight movie like repeatedly on cable, this is the thing about cable. I actually tweeted about it last night that I've seen almost all of Little Fockers in 5-minute bursts over a 6-month period, because like every so often I'll sit down in front of the TV with nothing really to watch, and I'm not, I just kind of want to veg out, and I'll put on it one of the 500 HBOs that I have, and Little Fockers is on, and it's a scene I haven't seen before, so now and I'm starting to stitch together a narrative from it.
Ambiently seen. No,
I know what's going on. I know all about the plight of the Fockers.
Can I tell you a crazy story about one of my friends in college?
I'd really prefer that you didn't, but I think you're going to anyway.
He worked at, I think it was Argonne National Labs, just far away from the University of Chicago, and he never wanted to drive home in traffic. So he would go to the local movie theater and buy one ticket and then just wander from movie to movie. And he was a totally insane physics major. And he would talk about how he started to construct a 6D narrative of all the movies he was watching at one time.
Yeah.
And after about 3 or 4 weeks of watching every movie in the theater at once, he constructed one meta-narrative. And it's like at this time at the bar where it's like it's 1:30 in the morning. No, because it would change over time. Because he's watching all
I thought there was just like an overarching, like all films have the same story.
Actually,
the hero's journey.
Once after we drank a while longer.
It's 3 acts.
Yeah. There's a conflict in the middle. Right. Hijinks ensue.
All movies are the same. Beginning, middle, end. I figured it out. I solved it.
Crisis of...
I cracked it.
Right. Anyhow.
Do you want to move on?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about... These guys?
XYBOARD.
XYBOARD. Can I just read Joanna's
XYBOARD, by the way, XYBOARD supposed to sound like Cyborg?
Let me read Joanna's opening line. This might be the best opening line.
I'm just asking.
She's ever published.
What? Why you give me that look?
And I wish she was here, but she's at me.
She is here.
She's here?
She just walked in, I thought.
I didn't see her.
Patrick said she's here.
She's here?
She's here. It doesn't matter. What does it matter? Joanna's here. She's in the room. Congratulations.
I was going to have her read her own
She
thing.
addresses the name.
Let me just read this to you. XYBOARD. It's a portmanteau that can mean a number of things. A skateboarding robot. A xylophone mashed up with a keyboard. Maybe even a science fiction novel about a xenophobic cyborg named Board. But sadly, XYBOARD, or at least the one of 2011, isn't any of those things. It's just Verizon's name for its new family of tablets. Now, I would say that a xenophobic cyborg named Board, I would buy that novel in a heartbeat. Like The Adventures of Board, the XYBOARD. I can't even say it. To be perfectly honest with you.
I'm trying to think about what would happen in that.
I don't know. Well, he would be afraid of other races.
Would he like?
So I have to say, so this size, I'm holding the 8.9. You can see it. This is completely silly to me.
Why?
Because it's not small enough to be actually portable.
It's the in-between.
But why do you don't...
Just read books on it.
There's
novels.
Let me see it.
And
I like this. It's heavy.
I mean, they're just... I don't know why they bothered with this at this moment in time. Like, I really don't. And you know what's funny is that...
We got a new clock on
here.
We got
Billy's coming in. There's a ton of fingerprints on this. And this one is dead. Can I have that one?
Nope. I'm busy moving this analog clock around. Here you go.
Come here. No, it's very like they didn't address the software. It's the processor's slower than the Transformer Prime, and it has LTE, but the LTE sucks down the battery life, and they're ridiculously expensive. And what's interesting is that Vlad reviewed the Zoom 2s this week, which are the same products in England without LTE, and came to essentially the same conclusion, which is you should have waited until you... I mean, this product is all about software, ultimately, right? And they haven't addressed the core. They just cut off the corners and made it thinner.
But Ice Cream Sandwich isn't going to revolutionize the tablet software.
I think people are
very similar.
I think if you're an app developer on Android, you have to wait for Ice Cream Sandwich to come and do something.
But ostensibly, if they're creating an Ice Cream Sandwich version of their app for the phone, it's going to work great on a tablet, right? Isn't that the whole point?
But they can't do that with Honeycomb, right? I mean, that's kind of the problem. I just don't know why. Look, $630 on contract with Verizon is an insane price for these products. I don't know why you'd do it. I don't know why Motorola spent the time to build arbitrary stylus support into the 10.1.
Like, is it arbitrary or is it really
just sort of
super important?
Yeah, that's what I want to do with it.
I want to use a stylus.
Everybody's crazy about styli these days.
You know, we don't do enough with our hands. Everything's virtual now.
It is hard to write, though. I'll say that.
Yeah.
When you've been off it for a long time, you have to write something out with a pen and paper. Very difficult, very challenging.
I just sign the checks to my workers.
I start cramping up like really quickly.
Yeah. I mean, soon we're just going to be blobs.
Yeah.
With a jack in our head, and we're just going to plug in to the internet. We're just going to be huge blobs.
Yeah.
And we're just going to jack into the Matrix.
This is the end.
I mean, it's the beginning of the end.
Right.
Or is it the end of the beginning?
Are we beginning to evolve into our next species?
Blobs.
Well, no,
humanoid blobs.
We have the blob form of it, then we transcend where all our minds merge together.
No, eventually the singularity, of course, we become just, light.
It's inevitable.
Light coursing through the veins of the Matrix.
Of the universe.
Or like
of the universe.
Or of another guy.
Which is only, which is purely digital.
Right.
Authentically digital. The universe brought to you by Microsoft. So
that'd be amazing.
Cool.
God sees the universe as a Metro UI.
Well, I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, logically speaking, we don't know that we're not that right now.
It'd be awesome.
I don't want to go down this road.
We're just a pixel at a large Windows Phone 7
No, you've definitely
screen.
read the thing where it's like statistically,
we've talked about it.
Like we are
in a simulation.
Yeah.
Right. The worst part about that for me is that, if the simulation was programmed by like a person who's Christian, I'm screwed. Because the logical end of the simulation is heaven or hell. And I'm an atheist.
Yeah.
So
I'm just coming back.
Maybe it was programmed by an atheist, though.
Screwdriver.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh, guys?
Orange. I'm just whatever.
Did you say you're coming back as a screwdriver?
I don't know. Whatever
or
it is.
Orange.
Just some stuff.
You're like, I'm just really craving an orange Julius right now. Gosh. Yeah.
I'd like to put something together while enjoying some citrus. Is that so hard to understand? That's
orange,
where mine is.
An orange does sound good right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It'd be like
they're in season, right? That's a winter fruit.
I don't know.
What?
I don't think so. Well, they're year round in Florida.
No, but I think it's like
there's only one season in Florida.
I think they're in their prime.
Humid. I don't know, but I have to say, like, if somebody brought me a peeled orange right now, I would definitely eat it.
You wouldn't peel it yourself?
It doesn't matter.
No.
I mean, I wouldn't peel it myself.
We're so off the game.
Yeah.
Do you use the orange peeler device, or do you just?
You just start and pull.
It just happens.
Just tear it.
It's good. I'm glad to hear it.
Anyhow, do we even have any topics left?
We have like
discuss?
3 more.
We really should. Okay, mega upload story.
I don't even know how to begin this story. So this is
insane.
So ridiculous.
Can we just start at the beginning with the mega upload?
So there's a song.
Can we talk about this mega upload? I don't know if you guys have seen this.
Let me see if I can
you out there in the world. There's a mega upload.
It's called the Mega Song
commercial. It's a commercial, and it has a bunch of really crazy celebrities in it.
Play it.
But it's like the We Are the World of commercials.
It's We Are the World of Megaupload commercial. But like it's like Kanye and Kim Kardashian.
And it's really...
And they're like gathered around the mic.
No, and they're like
holding
I mean, obviously they went to different places to film some of this, but they're like, people are like, I love Megaupload. And I want to know, like...
I'm playing the song.
Yeah, get that in there. This goes on for like 10 minutes,
Forever.
too. I mean, it's a long song. But here's what I am trying to figure out. Was Kanye paid to say he likes Megaupload?
That's what they claim. And this is Will.i.am. There's Macy Gray at the end.
Wait, they claim he was paid?
Megaupload. So the CEO...
I mean, typically when you endorse a product, you're getting paid for it.
Let me just start at the beginning.
And they're definitely saying, I love Megaupload.
The foundational part of the story is that Megaupload has a CEO who has changed his name to Kim.com. So that's like step one.
That is awesome. that is amazing.
Step 2, the only use for Megaupload is to steal things.
Yeah, so,
No.
okay, what? Stop. So, no, right? But, so the RIAA, the Hollywood and the record labels.
RIAA makes it sound cool. The RIAA.
The RIAA.
That's like an organization. RIAA is like a...
It's a battery.
Yeah. No, it's RIAA.
It's like a hip club of artists.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
All right.
Carry on.
So they run around, they always characterize Megaupload and all these other services as quote-unquote rogue file sharing sites.
Yeah.
So Kim.com wants to fight back against it. He says, everybody uses us whether or not you admit it. I'll hire all these artists to be in our commercial. I do not believe that they can afford to get all of these artists to sing this ridiculous song.
Well, what is the explanation?
I think they stole some footage.
They tricked them?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so, man.
You think they just paid the money?
I think
they're like, Will.i.am, please write a song for Megaupload.
No, I think, well, first off, they're not going to, Will.i.am's not going to do, is that a Will.i.am song?
Yeah, I think
Okay, so that came from somewhere. Somebody got paid to do
Look,
that.
the Black Eyed Peas are on break, so he's got time.
And he's poor now.
I spent all the money from our hits on what? I don't know. Just more studio equipment. Yeah. I wanted a really good studio. No, but look, but you know, I think there's some nominal fee being paid or some small fee just being paid to everybody who does it. Or maybe they're just being given access to the fast Megaupload for free.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait 30 seconds.
Kanye's like, no, I'm not interested. They're like, but we'll give you access to the fast version where you don't have to wait to download. And he's like, all right, I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah.
No, but like, this happened somehow. Right?
I mean,
so that is
real.
Total, okay,
so a video happened.
So
the video's real, though. Those people are saying those things.
We agree about that.
They're not computer generated. It's not a 3D Kanye West.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's not a render.
None of those artists have come out.
Step 3 or whatever.
So then that's step 1 is they made this video. Nobody knows how it got made. Step 2 is Universal starts getting it pulled off of YouTube. They get it pulled off of like Vimeo. They start putting out these DMCA takedown notices.
Somebody made a really good point that somebody's going to take down this video
and I will,
because we just played the song.
I will cut them.
You'll just
this isn't happening in the justice system.
You'll run up to them and shank them.
This is happening in the justice system.
Capital J.
Okay.
Capital J.
Go on.
That's my vigilante lawyer movie, Capital J, for justice. Just think about it. Anyway.
I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
I'm dead serious.
Think about helping you on the screenplay.
Step 2, Universal starts pulling it off all these sites.
Okay.
They claim but to do it, they have to have some claim, right? Which is you are using a song of ours, which I doubt somebody at Universal wrote the Megaupload song,
right?
Or our artist did consent to be in this video,
right?
But that's actually you can't do. That's not a copyright claim. It's like a publicity claim, right?
I have no idea.
I haven't read their entire claim, but
every celebrity. I mean, I guess it only takes one.
I just assume that like a label has like some sort of rights to like their musicians appearing in other musical products.
They do, but that's not. They don't have. You have to make something and copy it for it to be copyright infringement. It's you can't do this.
No, look, I manage Kanye, so he can't do music without my consent.
Right, but that doesn't let you pull something off of YouTube. Like YouTube's like system for doing that is all about I made this thing, you made an illegal copy of it.
Right. Yes, I agree with
not
that.
I have rights over Kanye's
It does seem an abuse of YouTube.
So that's like this whole. So then Megaupload turns around and sues Universal, which is insanity. So Kim.com versus Universal Music Group is.
I just want to read that paperwork.
Yeah, it's great. They sue them for these fraudulent takedown notices.
Is it DOT?
Yeah, Kim.com. One
so
word.
dot is middle name? Or?
No, it's .com.
Do they refer to him as honorable? Or
does he own?
Sir.com?
Yeah.
Does he own...
His Excellency.com.
Does he own Kim.com?
I don't know. We can find out.
If that goes to Megaupload, I'm going to freak out. Because, I mean, you think if he's got enough money to put Kanye in Kim
There's nothing. How do you not have this, Megaupload guy?
Wait, there's nothing at Kim.com?
Maybe there's nothing at Kim.com.
So you tried Kim.com.com?
No, but I'm sure he owns this. He just doesn't have anything on it. Everybody's furiously going to Kim.com right now.
Don't Google.
Somebody has Kim.com.com on YouTube.
I bet it's Kim.com.com.
On GoDaddy.
Anyhow, go ahead.
Okay, so that's all happening. It's really shady. We covered it a little bit because we think it's funny that they made the song. We want to show the people the song. And that's kind of where we're at with it, like over the weekend, right? We make this decision. We're not going to dive deep into this. Everything about it seems shady. Both sides are probably wrong in the end, right?
Yeah.
There's some amount of wrong happening on every level. Our friends, Tom Merritt and Sarah Lane did 5 minutes on The Verge with us this week.
That's right.
They do Tech News Today at Twit. They reported on it on Monday.
Yep.
Put it up on YouTube like they do.
Yep.
Universal got their report pulled off of YouTube because they had the audacity to play part of the song. And
Which is what we just did.
And the first time they played it, they didn't even play the audio.
This is now like a First Amendment.
Yeah, this is like
right. Like we're
like now we're crossing like weird territory.
We are definitely commenting on this piece.
Yeah, they played just the video.
We're in Supreme Court territory now,
and they were just talking about it. And then they were like, well, we want you to hear a little bit. So a little bit later, they played like another 5 seconds with the audio.
Like we just did.
Like we just did. Like, here's this thing that we're talking about. You should see it. Which is like in the Copyright Act. It straight up says, this is allowed for purposes of news reporting and commentary.
I just want to know
those words are in the law.
I need to know the genesis of this thing. Like, what is going on? It's true that Megaupload is
so let me just finish.
definitely used to steal things.
Maybe in their minds, it's like, this should have never existed. So
Universal, they just want it to go away.
This is beyond copyright infringement. It's like reality infringement. Like this can't be real.
No, it's
by the way, 100% my line of young adults legal novels, reality infringement. It's like it's science fiction, but
I thought you were working on a legal twist. I thought you were working on a movie. So I get what you're saying. It's like how George Lucas.
They just said it.
It's like how he wants. Who is it? Is it Greedo shoots first? Is that the?
Or now, like Darth Vader yells no.
No, he's always yelled. When?
No, when he gets thrown.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You haven't seen that?
No. Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah.
Please, can I make a personal appeal? A personal appeal from Josh Topolsky. George Lucas, leave your shit alone. Like, just stop. Just seriously, you know what? Just stop. No one wants it.
Yeah.
Only you. And everybody hates it. Please stop.
Yeah.
Anyhow, back to Kim.com.
No, so let me just finish the
revisionist history. They want to erase this from reality.
So the way YouTube works, right? The way, because YouTube gets a lot of these all the time. So their system is mostly automated, right? So they have an automatic system that flags your thing, or somebody can flag it. And so they flag the Tech News Today segment, and Tom went on it and said, no, I'm not infringing copyright. And then a human being at Universal had to receive that and then file essentially a formal takedown request, like the formal legal, this is a violation of copyright, where YouTube has to take it down for at least 10 days, and they can challenge it, and then we'll come back with a lawsuit. So Universal it's not like they tried it and it didn't work and they went away. They came back with the sort of implied threat of, we're going to sue you.
To be fair, YouTube is typically on the wrong side of this. In the fact that they have, even though that they have instilled some pretty good systems, they have profited so hugely from copyright infringement.
No, they built the business on copyright. It's like
they have made so many billions
I only
of dollars.
use YouTube for copyright infringing things. When I need to hear a song or a chopped and screwed remix of a song,
right? Or you want to watch an old movie,
I don't.
It's funny. I send people now that Rdio has like that free, like it's like a limited time or a limited amount of plays or something. It's free. I send people Rdio links still, and they're like, I can't see that. Can you just send me a YouTube link?
Right. Well, it's a problem. I mean, this is a much deeper discussion about I'm sure Neil, I would love to have this.
Well, no, it's right now. Groove Shark is being sued. I know you guys are.
Yes.
The labels are suing Groove Shark
for a really good reason.
Because
Groove Shark lawsuit is
they uploaded all this music to their service without any rights, and and then they sent emails.
Their argument is
how soon until Turntable FM is?
No, they're good.
Are they?
They're good. Really?
I can upload anything I want to that and then play it.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that would be covered.
They exist in this like weird corner.
That's like the radio license.
Yeah, it's a radio.
Yeah, but they have to pay every time that song is played. So
that's it. It's like Pandora.
Right. I will say things I uploaded are now gone. Is that normal?
That's the idea. Because you are broadcasting, you're playing it. It's weird. Right. It's just weird.
Groove Shark is saying, "Oh look, all these songs were just uploaded by our users."
And
they're
rooms
the one
get
that's
full
doing
on
that.
Turntable, right? Like it's not unlimited. Maybe. I think it's a combination of like the rooms have a maximum size.
Yeah. Well, no, you can't play to like nobody. You can't just be in there by yourself. There's a minimum number of people that in there.
I like that,
and you can't play the same song over and over.
I like the idea that you can't listen to music by yourself.
Well, it's weird. It's just all these.
It's radio.
Sure.
That's a weird example of like this new service living in a set of carve-outs that were made for radio in like the 30s.
Right.
And it's also the same thing like, cover songs are carved out because they made exceptions for like player pianos. Right. But that's a core part of
And I think Turntable has a really great approach to it that is within the spirit of the law, if a slight tweak on it. And Groove Shark is definitely very counter.
And what's crazy is that if you read, and I don't know how we got on Groove Shark, but if you read the Groove Shark emails, they say things to each other like, we'll just steal stuff until we have 100 million uniques, and then they'll have to pay us because they'll want to know who all those people are. And it's like, that number is insanity. That's the AOL homepage, right? I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to get there. Like, what are you talking? It's like, we'll just do it until we build a skyscraper to the moon.
I like the sounds of that. That could be the start of the Star Trek world that we want to live in.
Yeah.
Once there's a skyscraper to the moon.
Once Groove Shark builds a skyscraper.
Yeah. No,
anyways,
I mean...
This is all crazy, but...
But how does this relate to Megaupload and Kim.com?
No, you're right. It's all these services, they exist in these gray areas of the law where, on balance, they're probably wrong, right? Like... YouTube built itself openly on copyright infringement. We're just going to upload a bunch of stuff and see what happens. Most of the content you want to watch on YouTube is like, it's not skateboarding dogs, right? It's like these viral spikes of skateboarding dogs. The high value of YouTube is I can go watch any video. I want to watch a movie quote. I want to watch 50 quotes of Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
That's there.
Yeah, you're like, I've done this.
All this to say is that this is one case where they're clearly doing it wrong on the flip side.
They're doing it super wrong. And so YouTube has so much liability that so much potential liability that they have to take this stuff down.
Right.
And Universal's just completely abusing that.
Yes.
But like, if they take us down because of this,
that's awesome.
That would be
the best thing ever.
If we're reporting on the report that got taken down.
Eli's going to be like a phoenix where he's going to explode into flames.
Yeah. This is part of the script.
And then he'll be rebirthed as a super log.
No, this is the opening scene of Justice, the movie.
What? I think it can work.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get George Lucas and ILM. It's ILM in there to do some effects for you.
Capital J Justice.
Capital J. That's what the whole.
It's a long.
The full title.
It's a long title. Anyhow, what else do we have on our list?
Just 2 HP things. The brand redesign that we saw, and actually, we never talked about open source in depth. We can skip that.
And we talked about it on
the show. We talked about it on the show.
Yeah, I don't. There's nothing to say. You think Meg Whitman lied?
She lied
about WebOS tablets in 2013. In 2013, I will say this: in 2013, nobody's going to care about WebOS.
No,
like, that's a year from now.
Yeah.
Look,
think about how little people care about it now.
I didn't get to say this on the show because you guys were just talking about so many cool things.
Screaming,
who cares about what Paul thinks about anything? But I think they have to make a tablet and they have to ship a tablet because they said they would, and then they can pull it again.
They're gonna do Windows 8. They're gonna do exactly what they said they were gonna do before Whitman started saying other stuff. Which maybe we're gonna evaluate it like every other operating system.
Okay, here's our Windows 8 tablet. We differentiated it using the open source components of WebOS. Is that possible?
No. Because I think Windows 8 is going to be like Neil I was saying, it's going to be even tighter control than Windows. I think it was Nilay making that really cogent point.
It's both of us.
Pretty sure
I believe it was Nilay. He said all the good stuff, and then you were just like yelling about something.
Yeah, just reading XKCD comments.
Exactly, in voices.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that it's possible that they're just kind of full of it, that maybe that's the line right now, but they'll get to the end of 2012 and be like, we've evaluated the product, we've seen its development over the last year. What?
HP had the videos, their redesigned poll, it looks like.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I'm sure they're getting a lot of crap for it.
Anyhow, I just think it's possible to say we've evaluated the product and, given the presence of Windows 8 tablets in the marketplace and, if it's not financially viable. What is going to happen?
You can't trust a company to build a product and then continue to sell it before it just changes its mind on selling a product that it's already built a bunch of.
Yeah.
Why would you trust the company? But still, I mean,
but it's also insane. The touchpad is much more of a success than any Windows 8 tablet.
It's a crazy story.
I would love to see like some weird world where like WebOS and Migo just slowly float into each other. There's
that world is coming.
There's a strong compatibility, like a game developed for the native WebOS code, because it's just straight native Linux. Can run on.
Yeah, but
Migo
what's
stuff.
the audience for that? Like 10 dudes.
I just think
10 Finnish guys.
So Ubuntu is looking towards mobile. I think eventually there are compelling, viable desktop alternatives that are created open source.
I mean,
I think theoretically there's going to be room, especially as platforms mature and standardize a little more on the hardware side, there's going to be room and a slight demand for an open source platform. I don't know which one it's going to be.
But there already is, but the demand comes from carriers and from manufacturers, not from people.
I think the future open source platform is the web. I don't think it's about a platform.
WebOS.
No, I'm just saying, like in actuality, I do think we're going to get to a place where the web becomes so advanced that it's like it's indistinguishable from a native application.
Well, you can't have the web without a browser. So then it's like who controls
but it's a browser.
browser?
It's about the browser.
Well, WebKit.
I'll tell you who controls the browser. Whoever's making the best browser.
I mean, WebKit is
clearly
is
people don't their allegiances will shift. I mean,
but are you going to buy a phone because it has the best browser? I mean, I don't think
we'll think about it in those terms when it gets to that point. I think it'll be like, think of it. I mean, I think that in the future, it's best to think of it as like there is nothing else. There is no browser.
No, I don't think we'll get there. I think we will get there. I think native will always significally outpace what's happening.
I mean, I think it depends on what you think of, as native versus. I just think that we'll get to a point with the way things are being delivered, where they're being delivered, that stuff will become indistinguishable. And I'm not talking about HTML5. I'm talking about like something else that we don't have yet, which is the experience of native. I guess it's like when you get to a point. I mean, think about how much is built now, like that's part of a native app that is like the web essentially.
But that only works. I would say right now that only works like 85%.
No.
That's an 85%.
Right now, I'm talking 5-10 years. I'm not talking about like right around the corner, but it's coming. I do think that at some point it becomes less about I think that we will reach a point where the technology allows for things to truly be fluid in the sense that in the way that they're not now. And then maybe it is a question of who's got the best technology to power that, and that it's like, you say web, but it's not a web browser anymore. Something else.
Maybe.
No.
I mean, it's like that future to me looks like the Gmail app for iOS, right? Which is like this insane combination of native and web.
But that's a lot better. Look how better that has gotten in a year.
That's the problem.
Wait. It's only been out for like 3 weeks.
No, but Gmail for mobile web, I think.
Or same with like these Netflix apps where it's all kind of built in HTML5 in a wrapper.
I mean, and look at 5 or 10 years ago look at a web page on a mobile device and what they were capable of doing. And look at them, but I think it's like that mental block, and I have the same thing where I can't get past the concept of like load more messages, where it's this awful HTML experience or HTML5 experience that doesn't really deliver in a lot of ways that a native app would. But then I think this is now, and
by the
5.
Way, since we started talking,
I
just installed. This is a game that was on Xbox Live originally.
Oh, really?
Do you still have this Wikipedia extension?
Is that for Chrome?
What? Oh yeah, I still have that. That guy that pops up on Wikipedia.
So wait a second. Is that in Chrome?
So yeah, this is the Chrome.
Bastion's available in Chrome. I didn't know that.
I just clicked install. It installed. It was 40 megabytes.
It's Flash though, right?
I don't know what
it is. Flash.
It's probably Flash.
Here, find out. I'm right-clicking.
I'm trying to right-click. It's not doing it.
Oh my God, you broke it. You broke your MacBook.
Let's see, view.
It's obviously Flash.
Source.
It has to be Flash.
That looks like a lot of code.
Anyhow.
That's it.
Does anybody
Do you want to talk about the
somebody's yelling it's not Flash.
I don't think it's Flash.
It's not Flash.
It's because they also have some 3D games.
Oh, right.
Well.
Oh, right.
Native client, yeah.
Yeah. I forgot.
Guys, dude, we got it.
You're a little
we got
loud,
it.
Josh.
No, I'm not yelling at Josh. I'm yelling at our chat. Like,
Well, no, I did yell though. It was very loud. No, but the point is, but this is a great point.
Native client.
But you still had to download it.
Well,
Imagine a world where everybody has LTE.
I clicked install, and it was
with a capped data plan.
The app was installed right away, and then I launched the app, and that downloaded inside of the app.
I like the person who just said you forgot where Genius is.
Native
in the
client,
chat. Native client.
No,
but I've lost my cursor inside the game, so that's awesome.
But anyhow, well, the kinks are being worked out.
Yeah.
But my point is that I think we're going to get to.
We're getting there.
But I think you talk about like, oh, there's this open source, this market for open source. But like at some point we're going to have to stop thinking about things like, will Migo and WebOS join together? And it's going to be like, we're not going to be thinking about things like that anymore, I believe.
Well, something's got to run the browser. Something has to manage the memory.
Well, there will be. I mean, the browser is already a portal into applications. Okay, because applications they're not.
Something has to. But I'm saying something has to run the browser.
Something has to run the browser, and something. Well, there won't. But it won't be running the browser. It'll be running the environment that stuff runs in. I mean, it'll be. It's like you're thinking of like a browser with like a URL. Essentially, yeah. I think Chromebooks will become something much more advanced and much more useful than they are now. I think that the idea of a completely fluid. Look, people have standardized around HTML. They've standardized. I mean, they have done this. This has occurred on the web, and it's continuing to occur and grow and to change and evolve. And the more advanced that becomes, the more you start to see the world of it's not I have a Mac app or a PC app. I mean, this is of course like doom, like horrible for a company like Apple who wants to have control over an ecosystem. So there's going to be the alternate, right? The alternative to that. But I do think that we're moving towards a place where these things are delivered, over the air in what is essentially a web environment.
It's crazy that Apple's original idea.
Paul's just playing the game.
Is he? Let me see it. Can I see it?
Leaving him stranded on a rock.
You've seen trailers for this, right? I've never actually.
Yeah, I actually was going to get this
guy,
wow.
He narrates whatever you do.
He gets up, sets off for the bastion where everyone agreed to go.
I like this. I like this new podcast.
Yeah.
Wow. This looks great. It's exciting.
Forms up under his feet as it points away.
Wow. What?
Narrated by Sam Shepard.
Finds his lifelong friend just lying in the road.
Wow, that's not good.
I want to play this later.
This is great. Is everybody enjoying this as much as we are? You know what? You can just get it in your browser. Did you pay for it?
No, it's free.
I assume you pay for more levels.
I don't know.
Unlock full game.
I'm all over this.
Yeah,
Anyhow, all I'm saying is 5 years ago, not even remotely possible to do
Apple,
this.
Remember, Apple's original plan was that everything would just happen in the browser. Steve Jobs didn't want to do apps. He wanted everything to happen in the browser.
Yeah, you mean for the iPhone?
For the iPhone.
It didn't work out. That's because we're not there yet.
Yeah.
From a technology standpoint, we're not there yet, but we're going to get there. And then it's going to start to be, then that's going to be really an interesting new era for computing, because we're not talking about, if it works in Chrome and let's just say it works on WebKit browsers, right? Or WebKit-based browsers.
The whole problem, though, is native client means developing your app for the actual native hardware each time anyways.
Well, but I'm saying if you knew you get the same level of performance across there's a certain benchmark.
You have a fragmentation problem if you're developing something natively in C++.
But that'll run in.
That's the problem on Android. Stuff doesn't work across all the devices because it's being hard coded to support GPUs, and if it doesn't support a certain GPU, then it won't run on that device.
We're not there yet. I'm not saying that we are, but I'm just saying that there's going to be a point. I'm talking about in the very near future, and maybe we're just going in circles here, but I think we're talking about a near future where the idea of the platform becomes less important and it's really all about not the browser. I don't want to keep saying the browser because it isn't the browser.
You're just saying like internet delivery of apps.
I'm just saying internet delivery.
Like live apps that are like
live apps. I think that there will be native stuff stored. There has to be, always. I think there's stuff on your device.
I will say I think native development will always significantly outpace the web. And I think that will be where the cutting edge.
I think it depends on where our tools go in the next few years.
I think it'll be both. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a not both situation.
I suppose. I mean, to have a, yeah. I mean, I suppose so. I think they're going to really blur. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a real. We're going to start to break. It's Dave Weiner wrote something about apps versus the web, and I thought it was. I don't. I don't think it's an either or thing ultimately, but I do think that we're going to see a real blurring of those things, and that they're going to become more indistinguishable.
Well, and you already see them feeding off of each other, where something like Sparrow or Tweety kind of looks like a little bit like you're kind of in a browser, but it just has a little more Chrome on it, and Google's, Documents and Gmail have obviously brought a lot of desktop features. Remember, like, Gmail was probably the first, like, AJAX experience a lot of people experience. Yeah. That was a lot of.
I mean, if you look at Docs, like, I edit in Docs all the time using keyboard shortcuts, and like, there's a file menu.
I just wrote this editorial on UI, and someone pointed out that a lot of my problems with desktop UIs, with all these drop shadows and bevels and all these weird things going on, they would look silly on the web, because web has kind of gone in a way maybe past that, where web is a little more flat, a little more simple. If you look at Google's design language across its web apps, I think it's much more mature than a lot of desktop design language.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, certainly more mature than Stitch Leather.
Yes.
I mean, like, this is beautiful.
Yes. Right.
Although I will say that it's kind of... I will say it's kind of insane that when you click on this search box here...
It takes you into that.
You don't just type into the box.
It's really weird. That is like a little bit odd.
It's no just type.
Yeah.
It is no just type. That also takes you into something as well, though. It opens something.
I mean, this is pretty. Yeah. This is the real problem is that Google has the talent, right? Google's.
Are we going back to this?
We are. Look, Samsung's interface designers aren't as good as Google's.
Right.
It's just fundamentally, like, there's only so much talent in the world.
They're establishing a new, like, software center or whatever.
Yeah.
To work harder at
so
this.
am I.
Work harder at making our lives miserable.
No, I establish a software center every day. It just doesn't have any results, and nobody cares about it, and that's. Look, I'm done, okay? I'm done with technology. I'm over it. Do you want to talk about our exciting new hire, and then we can get out of here? We never talked about this brand redesign, by the way. We immediately started talking about
WebOS.
Look,
what?
Big slash,
the HP brand.
The HP brand.
We never talked about it.
I don't know. It can be reworked into a middle finger. That's all. And somebody giving you the finger. That's what I learned from our commenters. So we are bringing on a new senior editor in the UK, Tom Warren, who was the editor-in-chief of NeoWin and runs a site called Win Rumors right now. He'll be coming over. He's not going to continue to run Win Rumors. I mean, he's going to be full-time with us. And we're really excited. He's an awesome writer. He is...
Today was his first day. It was really great.
Yeah, he's hanging out with us now. He's in our IRC room and everything. It's very exciting. But he's has put a focus on Microsoft, obviously, over the last 10 years. He's going to do that, but he's going to do more than that at the site. And I'm just psyched. 2012 is a big year for us. We have a lot of stuff to do and a lot to prove. And we have to get bigger and better. And we have to, we're going to bring on more people. And Tom is like a great new addition to the team. I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah,
that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah.
Well, and I will say one other thing. We actually have so on the thing that we were talking about earlier, how we're adding features and making additions and stuff. We have a new feature coming late tonight, which is like a fairly substantial feature. I guess I should talk about it. I'm going to write a post about it.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as let me just double check with Justin to make sure that we're definitely doing this.
Did you
tonight.
see? I tweeted earlier, like I tweeted if you were running your website like an app, would you tease new features?
Really subtle.
And then
really subtle.
Our CEO Jim Bankoff immediately replied and was like, "Probably not."
What did you say?
I tweeted, if you were running your website like an app, would you tease new features, discuss? And Bankoff immediately wrote back, like tweeted back at me as a joke, and was like, "Probably not." It's pretty entertaining.
Okay, so I'm just checking with our developers right now. We'll be like, we're launching this.
It's supposed to happen tonight, right?
I wouldn't give too much away. It's
not gonna blow your mind.
It's gonna change your life.
It's a cool feature.
It won't blow your mind, but it'll change your life.
It will change your life.
It could lead to a new career path.
We're adding a new feature tonight, which is a user-facing feature, which will allow you to further interact with our product database and with content on the site. and it will give users more of an opportunity to share their voice and opinions about products.
You just gave it away, man.
I don't think so. Who knows? Let's see if anybody's guessed.
Comment editing. I wish it was comment editing.
It's not comment editing.
Yeah.
Anyhow, but we'll have some. So hopefully we'll roll that out tonight. As far as I know, we're rolling it out later tonight. Yeah. I'll have a post on it.
You people are not right.
People are like
in the chat.
Somebody just guessed lemons. I don't know where that came from. Anyhow, so that's coming. And then finally, I just really
it's face chat. You got it.
Chat.
Yes, that's it.
If you have to download a Java client.
Yeah.
Finally, I just want to talk about this thing that I wrote in our forums, which was about a response to. If you guys haven't seen it, I want to just because we joked about it a little bit, but I want to talk about it seriously for a second. It's a response to something that MG Siegler had written that Daring Fireball John Gruber had put up on his site and kind of agreed with, and it was about how Android users just don't get what's great about iOS, and that I have a long post on it, and I think that the gist of my post, I wasn't defending Android, and I wasn't knocking iOS, and I wasn't even knocking John and MG, who I think are smart guys. Like it's not. There is a little bit like personal stuff in with some of the stuff that MG wrote because I just think it's a little ridiculous. But it really was about how I see, and I've seen this, and there was just an article recently. I think it was something like "Are Android users just cheap?" It was about how you can't make as much money on an Android device as you can with Android users as you can with iOS users, and I just think I feel this growing divide, this like us versus I know that we have the fanboy stuff, but there's this thing where it's like John Gruber's comment was you either get it or you don't. As if like there's this line, and it's like you're either on this side, the people who just get it, or you're on the other side and you don't get it. And I don't think it's about that. I think that you can get it, and there are a lot of variables that follow getting it. You can look at iOS and say, that's beautiful and elegant, and that's a Mercedes, but I want to drive this Honda anyhow. His argument was like, it's like a Mercedes owner trying to explain to a Honda owner why the Mercedes has a better ride or something, which is, when you hear that out loud, I don't know, to me it sounds insanely offensive.
He's already decided which is the Mercedes and which is the Honda.
It just sounds insane to me. Like I would never say that to somebody. And here's the thing: I like expensive things. I like nice things. Like I think that there are things about a Mercedes that are nicer than a Honda. But guess what? The Mercedes doesn't get as good of a gas mileage as a Honda. So some people might look at that and go
You're just cheap, Josh.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. Some people might look at it and go like, yeah, the ride is smoother, but it's not a good investment for me. Or there are other things about the Honda that I prefer.
There's some cars that are roomy and comfortable, and some cars have better acceleration.
And just it's like this concept of like this is empirically like the classy high end thing, and everything else is on the other side of it. I think is a bullshit concept, and I think that we need to be wary of when people talk about this stuff. It's fine to talk about your preferences and the things that you like and the things that you get and that you don't get. But I think it's really dangerous to talk about. It's just lame to talk about.
Of all, I think that metaphor is really bad.
Well, it is a bad metaphor.
Terrible metaphor.
But I also think that you either get it or you don't thing is bad as well. I think that's a false. I think you're setting people up to respond to what is essentially a false sentiment. Right. That there can only be two options on this thing.
Well, and that you can't understand the advantages of the other side if you pick one. Like if I pick Android, I can't understand the advantages of iOS.
Right.
And if I pick iOS, I can't understand, which this is the flip side. They're not arguing this, but if I pick iOS, I can't understand the advantages of Android.
No, there is an argument there that's part of the argument. It's that you. I think that's sort of it's insinuated. I think definitely the part of the argument is for sure if you like Android, you obviously don't get what's great about it. But this isn't about Android or iOS.
Maybe for some people they don't get what's great. But I think especially a highly informed person like someone that reads The Verge, someone who follows
mainly people that read
someone
The
who
Verge.
follows MG or Gruber on Twitter. Knows a lot about both sides and has made an informed decision what is best for them.
Right, and that's what it boils down to. It's not a black or white thing. It's not either or, and it's definitely not. And what I feel is the insinuation is that like there is like some feeling of class warfare with the way that it's talked about. You know, it isn't the Mercedes versus the Honda, and it isn't the Android users don't understand what the iOS users do. I think that's BS, and I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong-headed to talk about these things in absolutes like that.
It harkens to kind of a 1990s Apple fanboyism. It's like, yeah, I am like a far oppressed minority, but I'm the artist here.
Right.
You know,
it's funny because Apple,
obvious
they're not. I mean, and that we've talked about
Photoshop runs
this.
a little bit better on my operating system, and I don't.
But we've talked about this at length. It's kind of this weird phenomenon where that '90s Apple zealotry was like, all right, like you are defending some like core principles that are good ideas against Windows 3.1, which is bad, right?
Well, and so there's Windows 3.1, but you know there was Windows 95 and 98, and
but that's like those were still not like they took a look. Windows got better. Like Windows 7 is objectively good, right? Android is like good and like. But the fanboys of these things, they're all winning.
I just think they're
Apple is like winning. It's a dominant company. Android is winning.
I just think there's market share and there's money changing hands, but these are products.
Right.
And they should be judged as products, and they should be judged on their individual features and not. I mean, first off, this is not politics. You know, this is not. We're not talking about. This is not a war. This is not important. You know, it's not important whether you like Android or iOS, and I don't think it is. But what I think is important is that you treat. I think it's important that you treat and that you think about other people with some degree of respect. And I think that it's a really short walk from you're this and I'm that to thinking about somebody in a different way. And I think that's just not a good place to be.
I notice this seeping into my thinking. If I see somebody with a PC at a coffee shop, I kind of instantly assume that they couldn't afford a Mac, which is like
that's
insanity.
It's really messed up.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I think I'm gonna have to fire you now
that's
because
snap judgment.
That's really insane.
I'm confessing that this is a thing that exists.
Yeah, and it shouldn't exist.
No, it's not a.
We're
good,
not. You know what?
A good impulse.
And you know what? Human beings aren't defined by their products. And it also is like I just think the thing that annoys me most is the idea that you can't get it because like you're buying a different.
Is that we're not defined by our product, and some people have like a different level of value. It's like I want to spend this money on a netbook because I want to spend this amount of money on my kids or this amount of money on my car.
It goes back to what I was saying in the post, which there's a lot of factors.
There's a lot of factors.
And those factors are.
And you're not a person of taste or a person of means because you choose one product.
And you know what? An iPhone's not a Mercedes and vice versa. And a Mercedes and an iPhone aren't like empirically good, and things that are cheaper aren't empirically bad.
By the way, Mercedes has made a lot of terrible cars. In the history of the company.
And Apple's made a lot of terrible products. And there are things about the iPhone and iOS.
But I think
there's plenty of holes in that argument as there is on the other side.
I think that's why it's a particularly terrible metaphor, right? Because it is this assumption.
Well, but the gist is this: Mercedes makes cars for wealthy people that are refined, okay, and expensive. And people who buy Mercedes understand that the ride and the luxury of a Mercedes is valuable. And the people who buy a Honda might not understand that. This is what he's saying. I mean, this is the argument that was made. The people who are buying the Honda might not understand that, even if they're told. Mm-hmm. So that's false, like on every level. I mean, in fact, in some ways, I would argue that maybe the person buying the Honda would be even more acutely aware of the differences between the Mercedes and the Honda than the person who's in the Mercedes. But I just think to think about products as like occupying a certain strata and like this is what they are and this is what they mean. I just think it's phony. I just think it's not real, and I think it makes you think about people in a way that's phony and not real. And it was annoying to me when I read it. And I agree with those guys all the time. It's not like I think that they're bad people or that I want to argue with them. I don't. Like I won't continue an argument with them about this. I'm not going to turn it into an ongoing war about what. And I know everybody wants that, and I think everybody thinks that this is like a big deal. And maybe MG and John think it's a big deal. I have a feeling they probably don't. I have a feeling they probably think this is like people in our industry arguing about things in our industry. But like, I'm not going to keep arguing about it. I just want to make a point that I think there's some flawed thinking in that line, on that track, and I just want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And now I'm done. I got it out of my system.
Is it over now?
I'm glad we have forums. I'm psyched about it.
I do too. You know, I really wanted user blogs or editor blogs
I actually was saying to Laura today that this is a great argument for what you wanted to do and we didn't get to do, and we probably will at some point, where we have our own kind of siloed blogs as part of The Verge that are just kind of like whatever we want to write about or whatever we want to talk about. I was going to put this on Tumblr originally, and I thought, why not just let our readers like be able to sound off on it and just put it in our forums? I mean, it's a perfect place for it. It's what they're there for. Anyhow, on that note, I love everybody. I love John Gruber. I love MG.
Gruber is great on the show, I have to say.
He's fine. He's a fine guy.
Yeah.
He's fine. No, you know what?
Adorable child.
He's a great guy. And that's the thing that I think that people really love to take this stuff way out of, blow it out of proportion on the internet. Like, people call other people on their shit all the time on the internet. It's pretty common. Gruber does it. MG does it. I'm doing it. This is not like uncommon stuff. These are just people having, heated conversations.
This is our conversation.
It's a conversation. And it's not like we're now in some battle. At least I don't think that. Maybe they do. I have a feeling they don't. I just think that people want to blow it out of proportion to some like big deal, and it's not. I just wanted to voice my opinion. They voiced their opinion. I'm sure there are plenty of people who felt like I do, and I'm sure there's plenty of people who feel like I'm an idiot. Right. So you're one of those people. That's just
look. I'm a Mercedes owner. Okay,
that's life.
You can't understand what I understand.
I just, the thing that bothers me most.
High-end infotainment.
The thing that bothers me most are the people who are like
plush leather interiors.
Who are like
all things you can get in a Honda, by the way.
Yeah, there's some very luxurious Hondas out there.
Really nice Hondas. Honda makes Acuras.
I think we got to wrap this up. I was going to say, the thing that bothers me most are the people who think that I'm just like trying to argue for Android. Like
you are.
No, Android's cool. Like that's exactly the argument.
Android.
I'm a fan. I'm just a fan. Broid. It's just exactly the argument I'm not making. Anyhow, let's wrap up. Wonderful. It was a wonderful time here.
It's a 2-hour show.
Is it? It's a long
hour and a half.
It's too long. I'm trying to let most of this out.
Yeah.
To 15 minutes. To 15 action-packed minutes. Yeah. Anyway, that's our show for the week. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at podcast@theverge.com.
Oh, look, Flash crashed on my computer.
That's tough. You can leave a comment on the post when it goes up. Why is Joanna she's like slinking?
Get away from me, woman.
Why are you slinking over here?
I don't even like.
What's happening? I feel like you're giving us dirty looks.
We talked a ton about the XYBOARD.
Oh my God, so much XYBOARD. Anyhow, you can leave.
I know what she's gonna do, and I don't want her to.
You can leave a comment on the post when it goes up, or you can find us on Twitter. I'm Joshua Topolsky. The Verge is @Verge. Neeli is Reckless. Paul is Future Paul. Joanna is Joanna Stern. And
I get it. I see what's about to happen.
Oh yeah, I see. Anyhow, that's it for this week. We'll be back next week, obviously, with more podcasting goodness. And as always, I wish you and yours all the best for the upcoming weekend and week ahead.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
It's my birthday.
And happy birthday to Neeli Patel.
It's tomorrow.
Returns
today.
So you lied.
What's the 16th?
Forget. Don't wish him a happy birthday.
I'm leaving.
Don't do it. All right. We done?
Yeah.
We're good. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Rock and roll. Wow. That was a mess.